Welcome back, guys, to another video. If you guys are watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you get notified when I go live and stuff. So, of course, this video we're talking about this new update with all the possible changes and outcomes. And the first one we're going to talk about is lazy links possibly coming back, but as we saw, Tilted didn't come back as most people would have hoped for. So you could see here's lazy with the country club and the flag, and if you go inside this shack you could see a hole and then a sign for the hole number 1. So obviously this looks different. You could see like that sand on the ground like it used to have at lazy. So who knows how much of the map will change if they bring back lazy. I don't think they'll keep like the big mountains there, but it should be interesting to see what they do with lazy going forward. So the next one we're going to talk about is risky reels. And so obviously risky reels, like that whole side of the map where risky and lazy are completely different. So who knows if they keep all of this like mountains and just add risky in it, or does it replace Sunny Step? Because again, Dusty Depot didn't come back as like it was, so who knows if risky reels will be the same either. And I think that's going to be key. Is Fortnite's going to bring back, or Epic Games, whatever, they're going to bring back old places, but they're going to be different. So who knows if, because a lot of people are suspecting that the visitors doing all these changes, maybe there's some like different places that get added. Like there's a new building that gets added to risky, or a new building that gets added to lazy. So again, with all this thinking of the visitor, because the visitor came kind of with the meteor and it hasn't crash landed. Most people think he's setting up in the depot. So as this season will progress, we'll learn more. And this is just me inside this game. I found lazy links, so right here. So who knows if it's going to become more even, or the place will just be on the mountains. And here we go. Here's the moisty mire. Now who knows if we'll get moisty back, like the actual location, or if we'll only get the swamp. Because what I would like to see is them bring back the swamp, but they keep back the locations such as paradise. They keep that in the game, and they don't really change much with Paradise Palms, because I love that as a landing place, and I wouldn't mind if like the area around like this desert biome gets just turned into the swamp, and maybe have like a little area where moisty used to be. So that'd be interesting. And also you could see that llama in the background. I think that was my 3rd llama I found this day where I recorded this gameplay. So it was like, oh my god. I found 5 llamas in the last 2 days. Little off topic, but who cares. So obviously moisty, because things aren't returning as people used to see. So we'll see how everything changes in this upcoming update. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a new change somewhere in this next update, because Tilted Town came out, and the next update they'll add a new building or new POI or different POI, which I do enjoy that they're kind of changing things at a more rate. And here's SHAREfactory. Now if you look at here where SHAREfactory is, it's in a different spot than where SHAREfactory was last time. And so Flush was really far away. You could see where I'm marked on the map. Flush was right by those like factories. It's where Happy Hamlet is. So obviously Flush has got like these buildings right off Polar Peak. So do they put it where Polar Peak is currently? So that should be an interesting update to see if we get it right here where Polar Peak is and we have SHAREfactory right here, or does SHAREfactory like come and then Polar Peak. And who knows, does the ice start melting? So we don't really know which change is going to happen next just quite yet, but it should be interesting. And so there's so many different changes that Epic can do to the map that's left. And of course, Dusty is going to be updated. I think Tilted Town, you obviously have the clock tower. That's going to be like the clock tower in Tilted isn't fully built, so obviously throughout the season they'll keep updating it. There's the one hut that they had Kevin the Cube destroy back in like season 5, and they're finally rebuilding it, and it's still not finally built, so who knows, maybe that building finally gets built at the end of the season. But it has a lot of wood pallets, so it should be interesting how these map changes affect the current places on the map, because like Risky Reels will most likely affect where Sunny Steps is currently, and we haven't seen like any of these leak places like get really updated yet, like the teasers for Lazy Risky, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen, if what's going to change. We know Dusty Depot didn't come back as it used to be because there's now somebody obviously living in it because there's beds in it. So obviously the game's going to be different, and really it's just a matter of how Epic wants to take it. Who knows if they'll add more places to this, like I guess teasers, I guess I'd call them. Not really leaks, they're more teasers. They've got that moisty teaser. Who knows where they'll go next, if they'll go to moisty next or they'll go to flush. I think they'll save flush for last because I think they want to like do something with the ice. And I saw something on Instagram where somebody showed that the ice is actually melting near the Viking village. So obviously, if it's melting near the Viking village, there's one place by the Viking village that could very well melt that's currently under like a block of ice, and that's Greasy Grove. So obviously, I know a lot of people would be happy with Greasy Grove. Maybe they do change Mega Mall, who knows? It's just up to them to change Mega Mall, but we'll see. And obviously, as the season progresses, we're barely into the season. We're like a week in, so obviously Epic takes a little bit of time, but I hope this is unlike other seasons. Because in Season 6, the map changes, they added the floating island at Loot Lake, and that was about all that they added. They didn't really do anything else with the map, except for had that floating island move around and go to the different shadow stone places, plus the shadow stones were always broken. Like, you never really get to use it, so there was like no point to the shadow stones. So I hope they don't do something like they did in that season, because it was kind of lame. They didn't really change the map. And then Season 7 was a good season to start. They completely changed the map, and then they had like 4 days where they covered the whole map, and or actually I think it was only 1 day, I'm gonna take that back, where it was all covered in snow, and that was cool, but it was only for a day. They could have had it last like a week or so. That would have been cool, but they chose only a day for whatever reason. So that's interesting, and I don't think this season's gonna be super unique with the amount of map changes that will go on, because there's never really been like a ton of different POIs being added in a single season, which is, I think, is going to be the cool thing, is that this season POIs will be returning like every week, or new ones or slash different ones, like Tilted Town. So it will be fun to see the changes, and hopefully they don't take like 2 weeks, because the problem is Season 4 and Season 5 they constantly updated the map, but there was often times where they were just tiny, minuscule map changes where it just didn't affect your gameplay. Like in Season 4 they moved around the hop rocks, and that didn't really affect. So this guy eventually knocked me down, and I just killed him. I tried picking up that sniper, accidentally rode the zip line. I was like, I could go get those materials and stuff, but I'm just gonna rotate. But yeah, so we'll see what happens in Season 10, Season X. I like to call it Season 10. I ain't calling it Season X. That just sounds dumb, even though the X represents 10. I think Season 10 sounds a lot better than Season X. It just does. I mean, Season X looks cooler, but Season 10's the way to go. And so here we go with this final fight. Boom. Blammed him. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and turn on post notifications so you get when I go live. Bye.